In a world where you're listening to the enhanced version of the Jeff Rubin podcast, your listening future hangs in the balance. Only one sound may save you from certain mediocrity. Coming soon to this podcast, that sound is... When you hear this sound, look to your iPod or other listening device and enjoy the weird stuff that Jeff is trying to show you.
Welcome to the Jeff Rubin Show. Today's episode going to be a little bit different. We're going to be playing a game called the Metagame, and this game exists, as far as I can tell, I haven't played it yet, but the game exists to facilitate arguing about video games. So it's almost like if you don't have anything to talk about on your podcast on any given week, you can just break out the Metagame. And before we get into the rules, let me introduce the competitors. I, of course, will be playing, and I am joined by comedian and college humor writer Adam Conover.
Hey, guys.
And comedian Jared Logan.
Hey there.
Okay, let's get into the rules. The game is kind of like apples to apples, except instead of random words, you have cards that represent video games. So each card has the name of a video game, the date it was released, the developer, and actually they all have original art, which really looks fantastic. There's a lot of really cool ones.
It's like magic cards, but for games. It's like a different artist for each one. It's really cool.
So there's a card for Mario Brothers, there's a card for Angry Birds, there's a card for all sorts of games. They got a really interesting cross-section. And then there's another stack of cards called the comparison cards that ask questions, like which game is funnier or which game has better characters. So we're going to take turns being the judge, which isn't in the rules. We're kind of making up our own rules a little bit, but I think it'll work. In the rules, they say that there's two players and one person's a permanent judge, but what fun is that? We're going to rotate judgeship. The judge will flip over a card, and there'll be a question on it, like which game has better characters, or whatever it is. And then the two players have to choose from a hand of video games which game in their hand best answers the question. They have to make an argument as to why. The instruction booklet notes 2 minutes max on the argument. Like they did some play testing and like some lawyer got, like an old school lawyer got up there and was just like... Grim Fandango, ladies and gentlemen.
It's almost, the game itself is almost like Pokemon, where you're choosing a video game to go fight your video game debate battle. Like, which game is the most dangerous? Like, Scribblenauts, I choose you! Like that. I don't know.
I think that, are the instructions clear? Does everyone know what's going on?
It's so simple, it almost doesn't need instructions.
Jared, you have elected to be judge first.
I will be the first judge, and I will be holding you to the 2-minute rule.
Okay.
And I will also mention that all of my decisions will be based solely on personal grudges.
Oh, that's kind of the metagame.
Right, that's how I metagame the metagame.
So, Jared, if you would flip over the first
Here we go,
comparison.
the first comparison card. Which gets better over time? Oh, which gets better over time?
So now we have to pick cards. Whoever puts their card down second, so whoever takes longer to decide, has to argue first. I'm not helping my case by explaining the rules. I'm looking through my hands. Which gets better over time? Oh, okay. I got mine. Kind of. I don't actually know if that's a great answer. I put down the EverQuest card. Adam's still looking through his hand.
All right, I'm going to put down Warcraft 2.
Good choices. So, Adam, in
I have to go first.
You have to go for in approximately 2 minutes or less. Why does Warcraft 2 get better over time?
Okay, well, Warcraft 2, as we all know, is like the first big real-time strategy game. Like, Warcraft 1 came out first, and it was like a small hit. But then Warcraft 2 was like the first game that like really, like created that genre almost. And those games are cool because you pick them up so quick, but they also have a lot of depth to them. Like I almost picked this card to represent real-time strategy games in general. But like you have all the different, all the different units, and you can build them in any order, and so you like customize like your build order. Like you play through the campaign once, but then you can spend like a whole year like developing strategies and talking to your friends about it. So that's why I say Warcraft 2.
Sounds like bullshit to me. Do I even have to make my case? I went with EverQuest, which is a game kind of like Warcraft, the same way Warcraft is almost like the proto real-time strategy game. EverQuest, sort of representing all MMORPGs in this case.
Yeah.
And I went with EverQuest It's just kind of, again, to represent, like you said, to represent the whole genre, because those games can be kind of boring when you start. There's a lot of like slay 8 goblins, and it takes a while to get into. And I don't even think this is particularly a virtue of these games, but I do think it makes the game get better over time. It takes a while to get into the actually fun stuff in any massively multiplayer game. And I think the most fun stuff in any of those games is when you've been playing for a while and you develop a community and you get all the cool items you want. You get access to all the high-level dungeons and the high-level monsters. So that is why I think EverQuest gets better over time more than... That doesn't make sense, that sentence. I'm just going to cut it off here. Done. Jared, what'd you think?
Well, neither of you used the full 2 minutes, and I appreciate that. It's kind of.
I want to use the full. I want to use the full 2 minutes before.
Well,
I
feel like you
expected
should
to get
have to. I think that's part of the challenge.
Yeah.
Can you talk about World of Warcraft for 2 minutes?
New rule: you have to use the whole 2 minutes.
Nice. I love it.
I can do it.
You guys, it's very hard to do this. You both made very excellent arguments, but I think that Jeff's argument got a little more to the core of why the MMORPG is better over time.
I was actually convinced by Jeff's argument as he made it. I was like, it's a really good point. Those games really do reward a lot of enriching things. And I remember I just played StarCraft 2 last year, and I just played through the campaign, and I was like, I don't even want to get into the strategy. It's too much.
Yeah,
I
actually think those games, I have this block in my head where like I'm really not that good at real-time strategy games, and like I find them really fun for the first like 7 or 8 levels when I can actually play it, but every real-time strategy game like has a wall I eventually hit where I can no longer play the game.
Well, the original...
I want to note, this is not which game is better. I think Warcraft 2 is a way better game than EverQuest. Yeah. I vastly prefer it, but which, gets better over time, I do think it's EverQuest.
I would agree with you.
All right, that was pretty fun.
That was fun.
It was fun. All right, we're going to rotate
so let's...
clockwise.
So you guys each pull a new card, right? For next time.
We'll fill up our hand a little.
Our hands.
Ooh. Okay, why don't I judge this time? I'm going to flip over the comparison card, and the question at hand is, which makes better use of space? Almost a very abstract question. Different ways to interpret that. Which makes better use of space?
I'll put my card down first. I will put down Sonic the Hedgehog.
And I will put down StarCraft.
Wow, I'm very excited to hear this argument.
Okay, well, Jared goes first because he put his card down second, right?
StarCraft makes better use of space because it takes place in space and involves different types of space aliens and spaceships that fight in space. Sonic the Hedgehog only has a few levels that take place outside of our terrestrial atmosphere. Therefore, StarCraft's different aliens, such as the Zorg.
That's wrong.
That's not. That is.
The Zerg. Yeah. Those psychic ones with no mouths. And then the space truckers that you have to start out as. They all work best in space. And that's why I think that StarCraft makes the best of space. But I have to keep going. How much time have I used up?
So I forgot to start the stopwatch and start talking.
Oh, that's okay. Well, then we'll call that 1 minute and 50 seconds. So I just have to talk about how it makes a better use of space for 10 more seconds. And I'd say, finally, I think StarCraft really makes us think about how our society could be in the future. You have hopes for the future, and I think one of our hopes as a society is that one day we could defeat a hive mind Zerg race of gene stealers. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Adam, Sonic the Hedgehog. I will use the stopwatch on this one. Go.
Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog, I think this is an easy one. Sonic the Hedgehog was such a big hit of a game because you're running so fast through this vast area that's full of cool stuff, and you can never see all of it on one playthrough, right? The big innovation, all the platformers before that were very linear, right? Even like Super Mario Brothers 3 and things like that, there were extra areas, but you're basically moving along like a linear track. Maybe you're going up instead of down like once in a while, but you're sort of seeing the whole level. Sonic the Hedgehog, all the levels were like you're running through this whole area at breakneck speed. You're not even seeing everything that goes by, and you're like, how much stuff is here, you know? And then it has that amazing feeling of like you just take a jump without even knowing where you're jumping, and you happen to land on this perfect thing that takes you around the loop. You know, it feels like this huge expansive world that's like somehow like supernaturally like made for you, you know? So it's like and it's like super kinetic. Like you really feel like a body moving through space in that game. And then they played with that idea. They had all the different like the 3D levels and stuff like that in the later games. I will say the underwater levels, not a great use of space, but you know, that's okay. I think they cut down on those later. How much time? I got another 45 seconds to talk about the use of space in Sonic the Hedgehog. All right, well, there were often levels that did have space backgrounds. That's true. And Dr. Robotnik flew around, presumably could go to space. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't have the required 2 minutes.
2 minute rule is a motherfucker.
It's really a motherfucker.
The 2 minute rule's tough.
Should I keep going? I got another 50. I got 15 seconds.
We should see this
I
one
got
now.
15 seconds.
Maybe
All
you just get a bonus
Sonic
point if you use
Pinball
the
is also a whole different kind of space. It was like a pinball type space that you're in when you're playing Sonic Pinball.
All right, that is 158. I'm going to cut you off.
That last point you made, I think, really drove it home.
I think being the judge is a lot more nerve-wracking, I think, than being a contestant was. Interesting how you both had different interpretations. Jared very literally, which maybe makes better use of like outer space. Adam thought of which game actually made better use of the space.
I think that was the spirit of the question more.
Well, I don't know. I think it's up for
But
interpretation.
my answer increased the fun factor.
Yeah,
It
it's
did.
true.
But that's not what we're judging.
I kind of want to
the judge.
I kind of want to give it to Jared just because I like the creative interpretation of the question. And this comes up in Apples to Apples too, where like you sometimes have. First of all, I fucking hate Apples to Apples.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
what
terrible
a
game.
bullshit game that is.
It's for people that don't have like personalities
Yeah.
to fall back on at a party.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and yeah, it's like it's. I understand why they do it, but whenever we play Apples to Apples, it's like, all right, it's for all my unfunny friends to feel funny for a little bit, and that's nice for them, but I hate it.
So, and I mean, it's not a very fun game just from a gameplay perspective, and one reason is no matter how good you do, the judge can fuck you over, and I think that's what's happening here because I'm picking Jared. Point for
right.
Jared. We're keeping track. We do not know what number of points we're playing to or what happens when you get there, but I am keeping track.
What if we do it with like card? You could take the card like this
Oh
to
yeah,
prove
that's
that
a great idea. These
Oh,
are
that's
our
good.
points,
apples to
right?
apples style. That's how we
Okay.
do apples to apples.
Oh.
I love
All right,
it.
now
So
I
maybe
am
there
the
is something
judge.
we can learn from Apples to Apples.
Yeah, easy scoring and boring gameplay.
So it is 1-1.
Oh, I take an extra card too. All right.
Jeff versus Jared for the lead. This is a major,
This is
major
important.
round. This is
Yeah.
critical.
Jeff has one, Jared has one. I have 0 points, and I cannot gain a point in this round, so I will remain at 0 no matter what happens. I will continue to be losing. And the question is, which has more meaningful social interaction? That's a good question.
Oh, this is an easy selection in my hand. I'm playing Little Big Planet. And again, I just want to again comment that I think the art on these cards is fantastic. Like
Yeah,
they're not just the box art like they did. They interpreted the art. They interpreted the game in an interesting way. Like Little Big Planet has 2 little buttons. Jared,
I'm gonna go with Sid Meier's Pirates.
Ooh, interesting choice.
and I think you're up first.
Okay, the thing about
Wait, what are we doing with the 2-minute rule?
I would say let's not require 2 minutes. I think
Yeah,
that didn't go
let's
well
not
for
do
me
that.
last time.
2-minute experiment is a failure. We're just gonna go with whatever.
No filibusters.
I totally flailed for 45 seconds in the last round, so...
It's very difficult to fill that 2 minutes, but I can probably fill 30 seconds here. Check it out. Sid Meier's Pirates is one of, I think, bar none, the most boring games of all time. You kind of move around a pirate on a ship on a vast blue sea of nothing, and then occasionally you come across another pirate ship and you have a quick sword fight. Why does that give you more meaningful social interaction? Probably you're going to turn it off and go hang out with a friend and do something else. Or even if you and a friend are watching, if your friend's watching you play it, you guys are probably carrying on a conversation because you can really talk while you play it, no problem. Like, you can give about half your attention to Sid Meier's Pirates and still play it and, talk to a friend about their breakup. And I think that's why Sid Meier's Pirates, it gives you more meaningful social interaction.
Okay.
Jared, once again, an interesting interpretation of the question. I chose Little Big Planet. Little Big Planet is a game that is for PlayStation 3 and is really built around social interaction from the ground up. The whole thing is it's got multiplayer kind of cooked into the very core of it. And even beyond the multiplayer where you can just, literally be playing the game with other people, both in the room and online. And also, it's one nice thing about Little Big Planet, it's kind of a crowd pleaser when you have people over that don't love playing video games, but what are you going to do, not play video games? You still got to play video games, and it's a game that kind of everyone can get into, so that opens it up a little. But even beyond literally playing with other people, there's an interesting element of the game where you can create things and share things. And that's really, I think, like the tagline for the game is create, share, play, or play, some mix of those words. And the whole game is really built around the idea of building things and sharing them with people. And there's actually like achievements you can get for making levels or creating decals or whatever. There's a lot of sticker booking in Little Big Planet. And there's actually like achievements you can get for creating popular stickers and for creating levels that are highly rated. And I think that's really interesting. And I that was probably the first time I've seen it. And I'm actually struggling to think of a game where I've seen it since, where the game rewards you for actually creating something that other people use, beyond just that inherently being rewarding. Like you get like 10 trophy points for it too. So I think Little Big Planet actually one of the most interesting. It's really got social. It was really built around. I mean, I think that game was built around the idea of let's make a game where people can create things and share them, and then they figured out what the game would be. Whereas most games, they would work backwards. Thus, I submit that Little Big Planet has more meaningful social interaction than Sid Meier's Pirates, which is a pretty good game, by the way. I like Sid Meier's Pirates, so you can talk while you're playing it. It's definitely not the most... and it's not the most demanding title, but it is, like, fun and addictive. They've released it for over the years for, like... I'm using my time to just talk about pirates now.
You might have gone over time by now. I don't know.
But they've released it over the years. I mean, it says according to this, it came out in 1987 for the PC. There was an Xbox release. There's an iOS release. Yeah. So it's been a game that's been around for a while. And
I play Sid Meier's Pirates while I'm doing the dishes. That's how unengaging it is.
All right, we don't have time for rebuttals. The judge will speak from the bench. I could go one of two ways here judging. I could either do what Jeff did last time and reward the bullshit funny answer, or because honestly, you did fuck me over. Everyone knows Sonic the Hedgehog much better use of space.
For the record,
as far as games go, we're talking about games
funny
here.
Answer is what I truly believe. I'm not just going for yucks. I mean, you should see my hand right now.
Yeah,
Sid Meier's was my best option.
Yeah, that is one of the things in the game. I felt the same way when I was doing the first round. So I'm gonna go with Jeff on this one because I think that's definitely, I mean, that's the defining characteristic of Little Big Planet is like this social building game.
Yeah, Little Big Planet was really a gimme in that round. It was a very obvious choice.
Way to go with the obvious choice.
Can I make a suggestion that we draw 2 cards instead of 1, because then it might make for more interesting discussion if we have more cards to choose from.
So draw 2 and just keep building your hand size?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Hey, can I make a suggestion? Is that whoever wins, the other 2 guys have to give that guy one of the video games they own.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. I can do that. Can it be
you
like
can have,
just like
most of the video games I own? Like, there's like one game I'm playing right now, and like you could pretty much have any of the others.
I'll give you a game that I own. I have some really good GameCube games I'm never going to play again. Probably Beautiful Joe. I'm never playing Beautiful Joe again. But it's a good game.
I got Gyromite right outside this office. You can have my Gyromite, but not the Robbie the Robot.
Nice.
Yeah, the Gyromite cartridges are very cheap. Robbie, very expensive.
So I'm going to draw 2 more cards. And I'm judging, right? We've gone a full round. No, Jared's judging.
I'm judging.
We've gone a full round, though.
Yeah.
Jeff leads 2-1. I just want to keep bringing that up. Jeff leads 2-1.
2-1 to 0, because I have 0 points.
Oh, I wasn't even like thinking you were in the game anymore. I just kind of wrote you off.
Look, we don't know how far we're going, so really Adam could come back in theory.
It's true.
It's really how far we decide to go here. All right, here we go, gentlemen. Your comparison topic is, which is more strategic? Which is more strategic?
I don't have a Little Big Planet for this one, you know?
Neither do I. This is pretty tough.
This is a difficult one in my hand.
All right, I will go first, and I will play Donkey Kong.
Oh, interesting. I'm also going to choose an old school arcade game and say Miss Pac-Man.
All right. So as far as our old school arcade game, this is good. Old school arcade game battle.
I'd love that StarCraft card in my hand right now. You know?
Yeah.
Or any game where the genre has the word strategy in the title would have been ideal, but I'll go with Miss Pac-Man. And I'm first, right?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's a little unfair that I'm first because I feel like we had similar thinking here. Old arcade games kind of do require some strategy. You gotta think it out, especially in Miss Pac-Man. I think to a degree you have to. I think when you start the game, people like me, and I'm not very good at Miss Pac-Man. You're just playing. You're just like, I guess I'll go left. Let's see what happens. And you're just trying to avoid the ghost. But I think high level Miss Pac-Man play. I'm talking some Billy Mitchell shit here. You got to be looking at the whole board, and you got to be figuring, the ghosts have different personalities, and they behave different ways, and you have to kind of plan your attack and figure out which segment of the board to go to, and which one to avoid, and how to corral the ghosts, and when to save the pellets for. And I don't think it's the most strategic game ever, but I do think it has a little more long-term strategy as opposed to tactics. I think it's a little more strategic than Donkey Kong, which is a little more reactionary, and you're kind of just dealing with things as they come.
Okay. I would say, all right, now
I wasn't finished. I was finished.
All right, so I really have to, now I got to zero in and say why Donkey Kong is more strategic than Miss Pac-Man. And here's what I'll say. Is Miss Pac-Man, I believe, as a Pac-Man game, is totally deterministic in that you can do the exact same thing every time on every level, right? That's what we learned from, you get to when you get to the kill screen, right, whatever of Pac-Man, it's non-random. You literally just go left, right, up, down. If you do it perfectly every single time, right? Donkey Kong, on the other hand, I believe releasing the barrels, I believe it is random, and you do have to be very, very careful when you pick your spots of, even from the first moment of the game, you're on the first level and there's barrels coming down, and when do you choose the moment to stop just jumping over barrels and make your break up the ladder, right? I remember that being very tense when I was a kid playing Donkey Kong. That was one of the first video games I ever played, and it was really hard to or do you get the hammer and hang out? Because getting the hammer is risky. Every single thing you do in that game is a little choice that could fuck you over later. So that's I think it requires more strategic thinking, whereas the Pac-Man games can be beat by rote memorization.
I do think that Miss Pac-Man is not I don't think you can just memorize a complete pattern, but I would concede that Donkey Kong, more so than Miss Pac-Man, requires a little more planning each level out.
So we are doing rebuttals. We're doing rebuttals.
No. Well, I'm correcting a factual error.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is a loose game, friendly game. It's not tournament play. Okay. I am going to give it to Adam only because, Jeff, you told us why Miss Pac-Man is strategic, but Adam told us why Donkey Kong is more strategic than Miss Pac-Man.
I thought Adam had an excellent answer on that one. You know what game is completely you can really memorize is Burger Time. Classic Burger Time, there is if you go on the internet, there's maps of it. Just go to the left, go down this ladder, go to the left, go up this ladder, and you will beat it every single time.
I've been trying to play that game lately at a local bar that I go to has a Burger Time machine, and that game is fucking hard.
Very difficult, unless you memorize these maps.
You can't jump, and you only get the 3 peppers to throw or whatever. All right, I get my first card point. Cool.
I kind of feel like having 6 cards in my hand. Oh, now I have 5 because we just played. But I kind of feel like having 6 is too many. I think maybe you draw 2 and discard down to 5. How about that?
Okay, that sounds fine.
Well, given that I don't know what most of my... It's so funny. We looked through it. There's so many games in here I know, and I think I pulled the exact perfect hand of games.
Do you want to call a mulligan?
Know. Can I call a mulligan?
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm fine if you call a mulligan.
Thanks. Now, this wouldn't be allowed in tournament play, but this is okay for... I'm just going to pull a new... Would we say how many?
5.
I do 5 cards.
I've got I've got binders and binders full of old metagame cards from when I was in high school at home. I stopped my mom from throwing them out. They're all worth a lot of money on eBay now.
I should note, we probably should have noted this earlier, that this is the video game edition of the metagame. They actually have a version with movies and at least just movies. And like, there's other things you can play it with, but why would you play with anything but
That
video
sounds
games?
cool. I can imagine a lot of like this is good for my video game friends, but I have a lot of friends who wouldn't enjoy this, but would like love to do this with movies and would go. I know people who do this for hours with movies.
Pretty fun so far.
Yeah,
Pretty
definitely.
fun.
I'm definitely
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, and I now have a hand of all games I know, so I'm ready to rock.
Let's see what the next question is. Which should be put in a 1,000-year time capsule?
I think I forgot to.
Is the question. Which should be put in a 1,000-year time capsule? Whoa. Jared throws down first with Pong. Gonna be tough to beat that. Let's see what Adam's got.
This is tough. A 1,000-year time capsule.
Good question. Kind of a very good question. These are very thought-provoking questions, metagame authors.
I am going to throw down Scribblenauts.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
Scribblenauts versus Pong. Okay. Here's what I'd argue for Scribblenauts. Pong is like one of the first video games, but it's not the very first. You know, it didn't totally revolutionize everything. I found Scribblenauts to be like almost a shockingly original game idea. You know, when I first heard about Scribblenauts, I was like, this is amazing that they had this idea and implemented it in however tiny that little Nintendo DS cartridge was. And, you know, playing it like really makes you like feel like a god. You know what I mean? That you can create anything where you just write, you know, literally anything with like an adjective and everything and you summon it, you know? Yeah, I think that's just such a fresh and original idea that it's like, I think that represents something very cool and original about about game design in this current state and time. And so whereas Pong's like, all right, you know, we can sort of imagine that Pong is a much less creative enterprise, I think. So that's my argument.
I'll begin my argument by saying Adam Conover lied to you. Pong is the first video game ever created. It was created by people at MIT. It was the very first video game. It belongs in the Smithsonian. It is the beginning of the video game revolution. We are living in a society where video games and your normal life are quickly becoming one thing. Interactive video, digital interaction is becoming a major part of your day-to-day life, and Pong was the first step in that integration of human and machine that will eventually lead to the technological singularity. And when people want to go back and they want to know what led to the technological singularity that made us all cyborgs, they're going to want to look into that time capsule and see humble Pong.
Okay, may I rebut to correct a factual error?
Yeah, I think you could rebut factual errors. I mean, I did it.
Pong was not the first video game. The first video game was a game I believe called Space War that I believe was only ever available on like a mainframe. I think it was MIT.
I think that's correct.
And it was a game where you like flew ships around like orbital, like a planet. It had gravity and stuff. It was way more advanced than Pong. Pong, I believe, was the first commercially available video game that you could buy in your home. Even that might not be true, but it was definitely not the first video game. And even before that, a guy made tennis on an oscilloscope. You could play like ping pong on an oscilloscope, which is like even predates that. So anyway.
Can I do just a real quick rebuttal of that?
A re-rebuttal?
A re-rebuttal. Pong was the first video game.
You know, I thought that too while we were talking about Pong being the first video game. I think it is not the first video game, but I think that's like very technical. It's kind of like The Great Train Robbery wasn't the first movie, but before that it was just like man sneezing or like electrocuting an elephant or something like that, you know? Pong, it's not technically the first video game. It was like certainly the first video game that made an impact in the culture. And I thought Adam had a great point about Scribblenauts, which is a great game and is really interesting and that I love. But it had a really uphill battle here. Pong's probably like of every single card in the deck.
When
the
Pong
single
came out, I was
best
like,
answer
there's
for this
no way I'm
question.
winning.
So
my other choices were like, I don't know, Angry Birds, like.
So yeah, I mean, Pong probably should. I mean, Pong should be. And plus, you invoke the singularity. I mean,
Yeah. No, that was a real. I was destroyed on that one. I think.
I mean, I think
Really, it came down to card choice, what I had in my hand. Yeah, I would agree. But
I think the Mulligan is what won that round. But I think we got to give it to Jared. And it is 2 to 1.
So we're drawing 2, discarding 1. Am I right?
Yeah.
After you've played.
Yeah.
Okay. And you
Drawing
can
2,
discard any
discarding
one
1.
card. Is that okay? Discard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, we're making, we're kind of making up our own version of the rules, but this is clearly in the spirit of the game. I feel like if the creators heard this, they wouldn't be upset with us. Adam, you were judging?
Okay, I'm judging. Everyone ready? Everyone's discarded their one card.
My one card. I'm sorry.
I just discarded. I want to ask, what's Rogue?
Oh,
no,
Rogue is like,
I know what Rogue is.
Yeah, Rogue is like a genre.
I didn't look at the date. The art misled me. I know what Rogue is. All right, then
Rogue is like slightly better known as NetHack.
Oh, I should have played Rogue on the last round.
Rogue
I didn't realize that was this Rogue. I love Rogue, and Rogue is obviously incredibly historically important.
I still think you wouldn't have won it, though.
Yeah,
if we're being
I know, but-
totally honest. Plus, now you can save Rogue, and we can talk about it more later.
We will. Okay.
Next question.
Which is more educational?
Excellent.
Anyone have Mavis Beacon teaches typing? I would put in there.
This is very difficult.
I was saving this one, but I'm gonna play Portal. We knew this card had to come out at some point.
Yep.
I was saving it. This is Portal 1. Should be noted. Portal 1.
I'm playing Parappa the Rapper.
Parappa the Rapper, interesting art on that one. They have like Parappa in sort of a gangsta style.
Yeah, he's smoking a blunt on the.
And he's got a 40.
Yeah, that's real fucked up, considering how fun and light the original Parappa the Rapper was. All right, well, I believe Jared starts. So your argument, sir.
Parappa the Rapper is more educational because education is the cornerstone of its entire gameplay. And Parappa the Rapper, your job as the player is literally to follow exactly the instructions you were just previously given. This is the cornerstone of our entire educational system in America, which says, I told you this, regurgitate it back to me in about a month. Parappa the Rapper just trains people to be ready for that educational system. Parappa the Rapper is education as game, and therefore is more educational because it is the essence of education.
That was an excellent argument.
Very passionate.
Very passionate. All right, I want to hear about Portal. Why is Portal more educational than Parappa the Rapper?
Well, first of all, I mean, Parappa the Rapper, yes, he's technically learning how to drive, but I don't think, like, step on the gas, or, like...
Crack the egg into the bowl.
Like, I don't think that's how...
I know a lot of the words.
Saying education is the cornerstone of that game is a little... I thought it was going to be a music-based answer, and that you just learn about music and rhythm. I should stop. I'm helping his
you get that
case.
lesson from teacher now.
Portal is a really interesting game. Obviously, everyone loves Portal. The physics in Portal, you learn a lot about physics, and you learn the best way to learn by doing. It's not a game where it's like, if the faster things pick up speed as they fall, you learn that by playing the game. And it's one of those games where after you're done playing it, you look around your world and like it almost changes the way you look at things. And you're like, I could fling myself out of that, through that. And it just puts physics in your head and gets you thinking about it by making you do it and by making you think about it in ways you've never thought about before. And that is why I am choosing Portal.
Rebuttal. Brief rebuttal.
Saying that Portal teaches you physics is like saying that, Mech Warrior teaches you radio repair. There's just no way you can argue that.
I mean, I don't think it's good. Like, you can't pass the AP physics exam on it or anything, but certainly the basic concepts of how things move around are in there.
Yeah, okay. This is really tough because I think that Portal is the more, personally, I believe, and this is hard because we have our own opinions as the judge. It's hard not just pick the card that you think is more. Portal, I think, is the more educational game because in Portal, you are being educated. Portal teaches you how to play, but Jared's argument for Parappa the Rapper was excellent. I'm going to give it to Jeff because you put that thought in my head. You didn't quite
robbed.
Portal like teaches you. That's what the coolest thing about Portal is the way it teaches you how the game works. And while Parappa the Rapper, the character, is learning, in Portal, like, you are learning, which is fun. So,
God, Portal's so good. Just looking at like this interpretive art on the card makes me want to stop this podcast and go play Portal.
Portal, you could argue that I agree with that. You could argue that every game, like, teaches you, and then the bosses are, like, final exams. And I think that's really epitomized in Portal.
Yeah,
Because it's like, oh, now that you've learned this, look what happens when we do this. And it's, like, always freaky and surprising.
The Portal games play with that the way that, like, Pixar movies play with story. Does that make sense as a comparison? It's like they perfectly understand how to do that, how to create that experience of, in the same way that, like, Pixar knows exactly, like, what little story, like, threads to pull to, like, make you feel a certain way, and then just does this thing, like, does it textbook perfectly so much that it's better than any movie ever made. Portal is like that with, or especially Portal 2, with the way it's like, introduce a concept, here's how to use the concept, and then the way it plays with that itself, where it's speaking in the tutorial voice, and then you break out of the tutorial, and that's when it stopped teaching you and you're on your own. It's like so virtuoso, it's like insane.
Yeah, I think Pixar and Valve are two companies that have a lot in common.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, who's up?
Excellent. That means I'm the judge now, right?
Yeah.
I think.
I'm sorry I made my own argument for Portal.
No, I'll take any excuse to talk about Portal.
Man.
Oh, no question which card I'm holding on to here.
All right, your next comparison card, gentlemen, is which created a more intense subculture? Oh, that's tough because you got to have the right card to play.
Ooh.
Which created a more intense subculture?
I'm going to play Super Mario 64.
Okay, and I'm going to play Rogue now. It's my time to play Rogue.
Now, here we go.
Okay, so Rogue, for those of you who don't know, Rogue is a text-based dungeon crawler, right, that was created in 1980 it was just like some guy hacked it together on a computer, and then other people over the last, 30-plus years have been recreating this game over and over again in different permutations, where just making it more and more complex, almost this sort of like folk process of game development, where like someone takes the code base and they're like, oh, I know what I'm going to add. I'm going to add like vampires, and then when the vampires bite you, you become a vampire, and then like don't drink a holy water potion like while you're a vampire or you'll die. Like it gets more and more intricate until like the games that were eventually became based off of Rogue, like NetHack and Angband and like ADOM and all these games, like people. You can go look at the news group for like, rec.games.nethack today and see people just like obsessively discussing the best way to play this game decades after it was initially like put together. And then that's led to games like Dwarf Fortress, which is this incredibly intense text-based game that's like, it's like more complicated than like any sim game ever made, but it's all text-based. It all like derives like from Rogue, like there's a common lineage. And this game is like so abstruse. I've tried to play it 2 or 3 times. It's totally impossible. I can't even think my way into it. But people, like, by following this path of this type of game, have gotten to themselves to this place where they are playing like some of the most intense games like known to man. And that is my argument for why Rogue has created a more intense subculture.
Guys, I'm going to do something a little unorthodox here and just straight up forfeit and use my 2 minutes to also talk about Rogue. I mean, the art on the card for Rogue depicts like the text from the game tattooed on somebody's back. And obviously Mario 64 is a great game. If it was Mario, I could maybe make this case. But Mario 64 didn't, which is a revolutionary game in its own right, it didn't create an intense subculture. Rogue is a game that it really has been under active development for 30 years, and when like so many little details, and like when it's not text based, I wanted to just elaborate quickly. Sure. It's not text based, and it's like go north, go south. It is a graphical game, but the graphics, because it's so old and because of its era and just because of tradition now, like your character is an @ symbol and his whip is a slash that moves around you and a dash that moves around you. So there are technically graphics, though they're based in ASCII. I never know how to say
ASCII,
that.
yeah.
So they're just letters. And it really is an intense subculture. And it's just it's a really interesting thing. And I'm particularly into it right now because I'm playing Spelunky, which just came out on Xbox Live, and is a card somewhere in this deck, I noticed. And that's a game that takes a lot from Rogue.
It's like a platformer version of a roguelike game.
So I've just been thinking about Rogue a lot lately, and I just can't even make this argument with a straight face. And if it's okay with the judge, I would like to forfeit this round to Adam.
I think that your humility makes you. No, I'm kidding. Fuck you. No, Adam. You forfeit accepted. Adam wins the card.
Can I just say, because I so rarely get to brag about this, that NetHack is sort of the most famous
very difficult
roguelike game. Very
because
difficult.
another category. Just to interrupt, another thing about roguelike games like Spelunky and NetHack and Rogue is it's permanent death, and you can die very easily.
Yeah. Everything's randomly generated, and you can die. You can accidentally walk into a pit and fall on spikes and die instantaneously.
And then you can't continue. You have to start
You have to
completely
start
over.
with a new character.
So it's very difficult to beat. You've beaten it?
I have beaten NetHack. I
Whoa.
beat NetHack, and it's something that most fans of the game do not beat NetHack. I was in college, and I was spending a lot of time playing it, but I beat it. I got very lucky, and so it was my first time through a lot of the levels, but I took screenshots of it, and I so rarely get to tell anybody that I beat it and have them go, whoa, which is what I want. So that's like how intense the subculture is that almost nobody knows what that means, but then as soon as someone does, I always tell them because they're always really impressed.
Yeah, when you say you rarely get to do that and someone says, whoa, do you mean you've never done this before? And someone said, well,
This is the third time ever that I've met someone in person and told them. Of course, I posted on the web and people are like, oh, cool, But yeah.
Of course I posted on the. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to keep this to myself.
I have the same thing, but with Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. I tell people I beat that, and they're like, whoa, dude.
It's a different kind of whoa. It's just oh. Maybe it's an O.
I've not
it's
heard
more
of that
like
game.
a connotation of you can go now, whoa.
Okay. So.
Is that Conker's
It's
Bad
my turn to
Fur Day?
judge.
That's
My
what I
turn to
imagine.
judge. Better. How many cards you got there, man?
Oh, I'm discarding.
Oh, you
one
got
still.
discard,
I
okay.
had. Yeah.
I'm going to call you out.
Yeah.
Flip over the table. All right. This round's question is, which is more sexist?
Ooh, very
Which is more sexist? Very interesting question. Oh, I wish I was playing this round. I got a great card in my hand for this one.
All right. I'm going to go first, and I will play Half-Life.
I will go second, and I will play Final Fantasy VII.
So, Final Fantasy VII, more sexist. Why?
The death of Eris. Doesn't she die?
I believe so.
You said that so emphatically for someone who wasn't sure if that's true or not.
No, I've got it. I wasn't sure of her name exactly because it's been so long, but Eris dies. She's a major female character. I think she's the only major female character in Final Fantasy VII. And as usual in our sexist society, the female character exists only to get bumped off or to exist as a reward for some man to fuck. Well, I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of Final Fantasy VII and its patriarchal politics. Seriously, she really is sort of like this, damsel in distress that, the major emotional moment of Final Fantasy VII is that she dies. And when are we going to have a game where the woman is the hero and she survives the entire thing? Every major action-packed movie fantasy that we have, you use a woman as a reward or someone who dies. For example, The Dark Knight, where the Maggie Gyllenhaal character is sacrificed to give the male hero more pathos. That's what happens in Final Fantasy VII, and that's why it's more sexist than Half-Life, which I don't think is really that sexist.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had changed my thing now, but I'll say that Half-Life... Now, I actually never played the original Half-Life, but I played Half-Life 2. I love the series. I just never went back because I couldn't run it. But Half-Life, you're this stoic, male character who, explores, the Ravaged thing, all by yourself. I think there's not very many female characters. I'll just talk about the whole Half-Life series. There is, you do have, a female follower character. Anybody remember her name?
Alex,
yeah. And she's a cool character, but she is always she gets abducted and stuff, and she sort of is kind of useless and I don't know, not the best character. So I think that Half-Life is you're very much this sort of lone man type of character. And that's why I would say it's sexist. But I don't have the best argument. I wish I'd played Braid instead, because I think Braid...
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
I was going to say Braid is you're this wimpy, sort of like, oh, I messed up with a girl. It's like this. You're like playing this wimpy guy who's like obsessed with this woman who like turned him down in this like abstract way. You're like this like nerd writing bad poetry. Like, I'm so sensitive, but like you're not really that sensitive. You're just like a dick. You know, like I think it's that kind of character. And I wish I'd played that, but I'm gonna stick with it and say Half-Life.
Man, I wish I could give it to neither of you. First of all, let's talk about Final Fantasy VII. There are other female characters. One of them's depicted on the artwork on the card. That's Tifa.
Tifa, yeah.
And the women in the game, and I cannot believe I'm in a
Aerith
position
is a
where...
shitty character. She is just like,
I cannot believe I'm in a position where I have to defend Final Fantasy. I do not like Final Fantasy games.
Why not? They're great.
Final Fantasy, I mean... Aerith, she wasn't just a damsel. She had, like, magic and shit. She was a part of the battle. And Tifa, more so, is a little more physical. I think she punched people, right?
yeah, she was a fighter. Aerith was like a wimpy witch, a wimpy wizard, you know, sort of character.
But we can't agree that she dies to give the main character more pathos and deep, heartfelt longing, right?
That is a good point. And I'm
The main
probably going to go with
character who
Jared.
The main character who doesn't speak and has no facial expressions to give him more pathos.
Over here, Half-Life. First of all, you're talking about Half-Life 2, not Half-Life, which, you know,
True.
that's not totally fair. And Half-Life doesn't have... I don't remember many female characters from the first Half-Life, which is excellent, and you should go back and play.
Yeah, I should.
But Alex from Half-Life 2, I actually think is one of the strongest women in video games. She's actually a great partner. Like, she sticks with you in episode 1?
Yeah, you're right.
Is it episode 1 or 2?
Yeah.
But, like, in episode 1... Yeah, it is Half-Life 2, episode 1. The main... Like, there was... At least when Valve was releasing these Half-Life episodic spin-offs, they were kind of focusing on a core gameplay concept or adding something new to the Half-Life series in each round. And in Half-Life 2 Episode 2, that was open spaces. And Half-Life 1 Episode 1, it's having a partner. And she's pretty good. Like, there's a lot of cool moments where, like, you remember that part where you have to shoot out the windows so then she can snipe the head crabs as they're coming at you?
Snipes people for you?
And she
How
I'm really arguing against the fundamental thing of what makes the game good. It's true. That was the worst possible card to choose.
Yeah, I think Alex is actually a very strong character. If she was even in the game card that you chose, which she's not, I think Jared, even though he got some of the facts wrong, I think makes a good point about Final Fantasy VII and the character dying just to move the story forward. So I'm going to give the card to Jared.
I really swam totally upstream there. And
Yeah, a little
really,
bit.
Really fucked myself.
You know what? You find when I first heard about this game, I thought it would be just arguing, but you find out there's a lot of actual strategy to it, and having to remember all that crap. Are you kidding me?
So we've been playing for about 45 minutes now. Let's do a quick score check. I've got 3.
I have 2.
I'm at 3.
Oh, shit.
3, 3, 2.
And I'm judging now, so I can't even gain a point.
So you're going to judge. You judged last, as I recall.
I am the
right.
last judge.
So why don't we
yeah.
do you, and then one more round, and then whoever wins gets to hit everyone else. Or what do we say? Hit
I
everyone
like
else?
the idea that we give a video game.
Oh, I was really joking about that. But I will give you a video game. Yeah, if you guys really want to do that, I will.
Okay.
Your choice. Let's put it that way. Your choice of whatever you want to give.
Okay.
So 4 more rounds, and the Adam's judging. And Adam, if you could give us the next card.
All right. The next card is which is more hardcore?
Oh, okay.
This is a great opportunity to use
These are
your
great, very thought-provoking questions. It's not just like which has better graphics.
It's a great opportunity to use your
Wait,
tiny
I'm playing,
wings
right?
cards.
Doom. That's a great
Jared
answer.
has played Doom.
Oh man, I have some good choices here. All right, I'm gonna go with. This is tough. It's gonna be tough to beat Doom. I'm gonna play it just because I want to talk about it a little bit. Worms, a classic game. I guess I'll go first.
Love Worms.
Worms is a hardcore game, very competitive. It's another one of those games that's been around, relatively unchanged, and exists for at least 10, 15 years, if not 20. Oh, wait, it says the release date on the card, 1995. So almost 20 years Worms has existed. It's more or less the same game it ever was. It's still on new platforms. You can get it on iOS. And in that time, the strategy and the technique has been so developed that people have been playing this game for 20 years, and it is a direct head-to-head competition game, unlike Doom, which does... Oh, Doom has multiplayer, never mind. Well, it's a direct head-to-head competition game, and the level of play is very, very high. Like, you can play Worms just like you'd play Scorched Earth or Gorillas, which are games, really old, obscure games, where you just kind of pick an angle and a velocity and try to hit the other person with things you're throwing. And you can play Worms that way, or like there's this whole subculture of ninja skills, and like being able to navigate the whole level on a ninja rope, and flying around the super sheep through little crevices and stuff. And so there's a lot, I don't even know if it's depth, but there's just a lot of nooks and crannies, and the gameplay and by the players has been so refined. People have been playing it for so long that you'd have to play, if you wanted to compete in a serious Worms competition, I don't know if that is a thing, it should be. If you wanted to compete against the best players in the world, you'd need to practice for years just to get started. Like the level of the barrier of entry is so high at this point. And it's a great game. That's why it's lasted so long. That's why everyone still loves it, even though... And why everyone complains every time they try to bring it into 3D or do something else stupid with the formula. And that is why I believe Worms to be the more hardcore game than Doom. Also, I should note, extremely violent. If you want to interpret hardcore that way, Worms is a very cartoonish facade, but very violent game full of blood, and can match Doom, which is almost synonymous with video game violence. Blood splatter for Gib. And it's a great game.
All right.
Excellent answers. And also, I love Worms. It's amazing. Now, tonally, though, I would say that Worms is ironically hardcore. It's like, isn't it ironic that these little worms are pretending to be hardcore? Doom is on purpose motherfucking hardcore. Everything about Doom is trying so hard to be hardcore that they go way past. I mean, like, how big a gun can your guy carry? How much of a roughneck motherfucker can he be? Oh, and by the way, he's killing fucking demons. Like, everything about Doom is just hardcore, hardcore, hardcore all the way. If you played hardcore punk while you played it, it would perfectly go along with what you're doing. If you played hardcore punk while you played Worms, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, Doom is what you think of when you think of something being hardcore. Every connotation that the term hardcore has is epitomized by the game Doom.
Okay, I think I gotta give it to Jared. Unfortunately,
I think hardcore is literally a difficulty setting in Doom.
Yeah, I think it is.
Why didn't I say that?
Yeah, you said hardcore a lot, so I think you definitely made it a hardcore.
Doom is really synonymous with.
And it created that whole genre. I mean, when you think of like when people are like, I'm a hardcore gamer, you imagine them playing first-person shooters, which like Doom was like. There was Wolfenstein, but Doom was like the first, like in the same way Warcraft 2 is like the real first RTS. You know, Doom was the first real first-person shooter. So I would definitely say Doom. I do want to say I'm disappointed we're only doing one more round. I could do this forever.
This is very fun.
This is really fun.
This is very fun.
And you can see why they give you blank cards. You can
Yeah, you
add
put your own games in.
Yeah.
But I also can't imagine playing this game and not recording it. It's so much more fun to be recording it and like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It really, as much fun as I have it, I'm glad I have a podcast because it's difficult to imagine playing this game under other circumstances. Maybe I'll invite friends over and like tell them we're recording another episode, but like I'll just set up the mics and not press record.
If we weren't doing a podcast, we would have to be like the kids that don't leave the dorm on a Friday night, basically, to be playing this game.
Yeah, doing this for a podcast really prevents you from feeling really lame while you're playing this game.
A little bit, just a little bit. So Jared's judging.
Me, the judge.
Last judge round for
My
Jared.
last judge round. And
Now, to win, I have to win 2 in a row, I believe.
you have to win 2 in a row. Well, that'll put you at 4, right?
That does put me at 4, and that just means I would tie.
That
And
means
then
you would time me.
And then Jeff would
I
have
have
to
3.
win the last round. So
All right, here we go. Your next topic is, which is more unpredictable?
Oh man, I've got terrible cards for this. God, I like. This is tough.
ooh, I have 2 pretty good choices. I think I'm gonna.
You
see
almost already won. I want to almost reveal my hand so we can talk about exactly like these games
All right,
are almost.
do it.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm gonna play Metal Gear Solid. Here's what's the rest of my hand. Oh, yeah. Guitar Hero, completely the same every time. Grim Fandango couldn't be more scripted. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is literally an exercise in pattern recognition. So I'm going to play Metal Gear Solid. And
All right,
put up
I
the
am
best
going to
defense I
play.
can.
I have a couple good choices. I'm going to play SimCity, and I'm going to go first because I played second. And SimCity is so unpredictable. I mean, it's almost does too good a job of modeling like urban development because you can design the most perfect city in SimCity. You can read like all the tutorials on how to do it, zone all your residential separate from your commercial, and it'll still be, why aren't they building there? Why is my city failing? Like, what? It's not working. What's going on? It can be such an exercise in frustration of like, what, if for some reason things just aren't working properly, so you build more roads everywhere or whatever. It feels like, like maybe there's some underlying system where like if you really get into it, you can figure out how to build something self-sustaining. But for the most part, it feels like very random and chaotic a lot of the time. And of course, the landscape's randomly generated, and I'm sure it, so it's unpredictable every game on that level. And I'm sure there's a lot of like unpredictability like built into the algorithms that run the game. So that's my argument. Compared to Metal Gear Solid, I guess it's like unpredictable in the sense that like on the first playthrough, like maybe you don't like know what's going to happen, but like it's still fundamentally like it's a scripted game that, some designer has gone through and placed 3 enemies in particular spots, and they have a particular idea of where you're going to go down the particular corridor or catwalk. In this spot, you need to throw a chaff grenade or whatever. So I think it's definitely less predictable in that sense.
The reason I went with Metal Gear Solid is because it's one of those games, and this is a series I lost track of a long time ago. It's gone a little off the rails, but we're talking about the first Metal Gear Solid from 1998. And this is a game that when you play it, I think you can often emerge with a story that is unique to your playthrough, where you can say, oh, I was chasing this guy, or I was hiding behind this guy, and then I lost him back here, and then I hid behind the box, and I was waiting for him to go through. And even though the problems are set, and the tools to handle those problems are set, the way you combine them can often result in something unpredictable, either good or bad, like either with the guy finding you or you getting away. And you can just often leave that game with an interesting story that you can go tell your friends about how your playthrough went that didn't happen with them. And I think that's one of the things that made that game. It's incredible to me that game was on PlayStation 1. If you look at the other games on PlayStation 1, it is so much more advanced than its peers. And I think that's one of the things that made that game so memorable and so good that they were able to make the most batshit insane, crazy sequels to it for 10 years and still make people interested whenever they come out with a new one.
It definitely was a good game, but the fundamental activity of Metal Gear Solid is not corralling a chaotic system that no man can comprehend, which is the point of SimCity, I think.
That's a rebuttal. I'd like it stricken from the record. That is a rebuttal not based on fact.
Rebuttal is stricken. Rebuttal is stricken. Real quick thought on Metal Gear Solid. I might have mentioned how bizarre ass Japanese the plot is to where you're like,
that's a good point. What's
happening? Why now? And who's the psychic guy where you have to unplug your controller?
Psycho Mantis.
Psycho Mantis. So, I was really looking for a little bit of that, Jeff.
That would've been good.
And then I think on a fundamental level, Adam just had the card he needed. I think that SimCity is just more unpredictable. So, card to Adam.
Yeah, all right.
Adam on his way to the 2 cards he needs to tie.
Yeah.
It is 3 Jeff, 3 Adam, 4 Jared.
Yeah.
That was a tough one for my hand. I like my hand. You heard those games. There's some good games in there, but they're just not the ones I needed. Okay, the next question is, which is more of a sport? Which is more of a sport?
Sport. That's an excellent question.
I will go first. I will play Duck Hunt.
And I will play Pokemon.
Ooh, this is...
Which is more of a sport?
Yeah.
Pokemon is designed to be a sport. The story of Pokemon is the story of an imaginary sport.
God damn it.
Pokemon was created for versus play via Game Boys so that you could compete in almost in a tournament of Pokemon fighting. It also, the collection of the different Pokemon has a sport aspect to it. Pokemon has so much in common, I would say, with like Magic the Gathering, which, as you know, is on ESPN2 when they have tournaments. Pokemon's practically the exact same thing, only instead of physical cards, you're collecting digital entities, digital tools, which are the different breeds of Pokemon. You're raising them to increase their abilities, and then you're really supposed to take them up against other competitors. Pokemon spawned a whole sport subculture of just playing Pokemon. Pokemon is more of a sport than Duck Hunt.
Before Adam goes, I just wanted to say that for some reason I just was completely overwhelmed by panic a moment ago at the thought that someone would like come in this room and see what we're doing. Like the cards, there's just like a card. We're not even playing Pokemon. There's a card that just says Pokemon.
I say to you, Pokemon is more sport-like, sir.
But how can you say that? How can you say that to me?
I've been cool the whole time, but for some reason, like I just thought about what someone would see if they opened up the door, and I was like, "Oh no!"
They're just wrestling
I think they would
around
look
on
at
the
three of
ground.
us and go, "Yeah, that's about right."
All right, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that out there. Adam.
Okay, Duck Hunt, I mean, yes, by modern day standards, Pokemon is, there's more of a, culture around it, and it's a larger event, and they have Pokemon competitions and everything, but put yourself back in 1984. What is on NES at this time, right? You got Mario Brothers. You have a couple of extremely rudimentary sports games that don't resemble the sport at all, and frankly are like pretty dull to play, right? Then you have Duck Hunt, a game where you take a gun with your friends, around around the television, and you are engaged in a virtual competition with each other to like perform like a real life sport activity, shooting, hunting as a sport, right? Or shooting the clay pigeons, something that's kinetic, takes like physical ability, really like a precursor to the Wii. You're having to aim and shoot at just the right time. It adds it up, and you're competing against each other in this, I would say for a very early video game, for a game, again, 1984 feels remarkably like you're competing in a sport that you can get better at, that you can improve at through physical practice. So I would say mainly the game's like physicality is the thing that I think makes it most sport-like versus say playing like NES Golf where you're just sort of pressing A. Like Duck Hunt, you pull the gun up and you're like scanning around, trying to get the perfect moment to take your shot off. So for the time, I think that was like as close to a sport as you could get in video games, and also the fact that you were doing it like publicly with friends, is also something like that's it's like a recreational sport in that way that we're gonna gather around and like see who can do best, who can shoot the most ducks. It really does feel that way. So that's my argument.
I'm gonna go with Adam.
Yeah.
And I
made
think
a great argument.
I think the thing he hit on that really sold me was the physicality of it.
Yeah.
Where Pokemon is designed around head-to-head competition, but it's not like you kind of come in with starting at different levels. It's not a totally level. It's not really. It's a lot of what makes Pokemon. A lot of every Pokemon match is about what happened before the match and grinding your Pokemon and getting them up to a certain level. Duck Hunt also simulates a sport. Clay shooting's a real sport, right?
Yeah.
And isn't it? I've never seen it outside Duck Hunt, but I believe it's real. And it just like a sport, like you show up and you have to perform there on the spot and prove you're better there. It doesn't matter what happened before then. Anyone could win any match. And I think Adam hit on that with the physicality argument. And I'm going to give it to Adam.
Oh,
I think that was a tough match, and I think that's very fair ruling. I think that he made a great argument.
Did you guys hear my girlish Howard Dean scream when I won? I really didn't think I was going to win. Your argument was so good. I was like, "There's no way I'm winning." It's true. Pokemon's a virtual sport, so I'm very happy that I won.
Duck Hunt, the thing about Duck Hunt is the zapper is like slightly more effective, slightly more accurate than just yelling at the Nintendo and telling it which duck you want. So it's not really the best thing for competition, but it's there. You can compete in it.
It felt accurate to me at the time. Like you look through the thing, you look
read
through
something
the
about
sites.
how the principle that worked on, and it was
Yeah.
actually based on the screen going black somehow, and the light that was coming from the screen going into the
What
gun.
it would do is everything that wasn't the ducks would be white, and then the duck itself would be like green or black or a different color, and then the light zapper would pick up that light, which was...
So it was really more like when you pulled the trigger, the screen was shooting at your gun.
That's exactly right. And you remember like the screen flashed a little. And another thing about that is that only works on old TVs with tubes, which basically no one has anymore. So
CRTs.
you almost can't play Duck Hunt anymore unless you track down a CRT TV. Yeah. Some people have them, but they're really big and
a really early example
obsolete.
of like Nintendo. Like it's really amazing. Nintendo's always had this history of making like really inventive like toys in that way. Like this physical, like that's so similar to like the Wii. I don't know like what executives there like made those things, but like it feels very similar. Like we invented like a cool thing. No one's ever thought of this. We figured out a cool use of existing technology to make an experience that no one else has. That's Super Nintendo to me.
Yeah. Okay. Last round. 4-4-3. I got to take this one to end the game in a 3-way tie.
Yeah, and I could it's a conflict of interest really for me to be judging this because I wanted to end in a 3-way tie, but I will judge fairly. I'm going to be objective
the whole time. I think everybody has. I've been really proud of us in that respect.
I've been extremely proud of us for the past hour. Well, let me propose this. I think if it ends in a 3-way tie, we should go outside, get someone, even if they don't know anything about video games, and have a 3-way showdown.
I think that's exactly what we should do. I think it's exactly what we should do. And I think also, by the way, how awful would it have been if we had pettily like tried to like win and like fuck each other over on a live podcast. Like I want to win at the metagame. Like I'm very glad that we were all objective. All right, here's the last question.
I'm glad we were all mature enough to play this game without arguing about video games.
All right, here's the last question, and I think it's a good one. Which game demands more of its players?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with Guitar Hero.
Oh wow.
Good choice.
This is very difficult for me. I'm gonna go with Diner Dash.
Interesting. I'm surprised there's a Diner Dash card almost.
Diner Dash definitely demands more of its players than Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero, you can kind of get into a groove. You can kind of slowly learn the game. Diner Dash almost requires a certain level of Asperger's syndrome to really master, and it demands it right away. About 5 minutes into Diner Dash, you're like, really? This is a game? And let me also point out that what it's simulating is customers making demands on you, like demanding their food and demanding it as quickly as possible. Diner Dash is really a game where you're just filling demands, you're filling orders, and it's solely about organization, which is a very and timing, and it's not. The fun factor is really secondary to just getting into that OCD kind of like flow state and crunching the mental numbers and getting to all these tables on time. Diner Dash demands way more of its players than the, hey, let's have a party and get high Guitar Hero.
All right, that was an excellent argument.
Yeah, when that Diner Dash card came out, I didn't know where you're going with it, but that was an excellent answer.
It really was.
Also, Guitar Hero, very difficult if you're high. You are not going to be great at the game. I went with Guitar Hero because Guitar Hero is a game that the difficulty, the ceiling for the difficulty on Guitar Hero is so high that I feel like there are levels that I could never possibly beat in 1,000 years. And it asks you to do something that is almost physically impossible to you. And videos of people playing Guitar Hero at the highest level are popular on the internet, and it's not viscerally exciting to watch, but you just like gawk at this incredible thing that someone can do. And particularly the later Guitar Heroes, once they added other instruments and drums, there's a physical aspect of the game that demands more of it demands you actually learn to play an instrument, really. It demands you learn to do something with your actual body in real life as opposed to just clicking on things.
All right, is that your full argument?
I hope so. Yeah, I'm going to go with it.
No rebuttal?
I think that I have no rebuttal actually. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I have. Okay. Let me go through it Supreme Court style.
I mean, the guy in the art is sweating. The guy in the Guitar Hero art is sweating.
It's true. He is.
Detail.
He is. Now, I played Diner Dash. I played it on my old flip feature phone. There was a version on that. I used to play it obsessively, and it is a stressful game. It really stresses you out to play because you're like keeping up with everything. It's just it's that flow state. I thought that was very insightful, but I would say that Guitar Hero specifically includes all of these levels that are almost impossible, inviting you to demanding you to put so much time into the game, and the levels. It starts out easy, but there's that like Dragon Force song, right? Isn't there a Dragon Force song in the original Guitar Hero? That's that crazy metal band.
Maybe not in the first one.
Yeah, it's like.
I don't think that's in the first one. I think the first one tops out with what is the hardest song? I don't know. It's some shitty metal song.
In one of the Guitar Hero games, I mean, Guitar, that's a proxy for the whole series. The insane, like, metal shredding song, that's just there to be impossible and for people to make videos of themselves. So I think it definitely, like, demands more of the player. So I have to give it to Jeff, which means...
Three-way tie. I got to be honest with you. I would have given that one to Jared. I cannot believe I'm walking away with that
Really?
card. I thought that was an amazing argument.
I thought it was a great
I
argument.
thought everything was well reasoned. I don't agree with the decision, but I concede.
I felt like you could tell that I was losing as I made that argument.
That's how I felt in the last
I could
round.
feel myself losing.
I was
but I am
genuinely
excited
convinced.
because this means three-way tie.
Yeah.
We get to do this for one more round.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause it. I'm going to go outside and see who's outside. See who we can find.
Yeah, let's
Don't touch that remote. There's more Jeff Rubin Show right after this.
What's the hottest 16-bit video game system with true arcade games, great graphics, real challenge, stereo sound, and the hottest library too with games like Altered Beast, Golden Axe, Super Hang-On, Forgotten World, Space Harrier 2, Revenge of Shinobi, Tommy Lasorda Baseball, Buxton, Last Battle, Arnold Palmer Tournament Golf, Super Thunderblade, Zoom, Thunder Force 2, Ghouls and Ghosts, Mystic Defender, Rambo 3, and more. Genesis from Sega. Genesis, the new generation in video games.
Okay, we are back. We have all dealt ourselves a new hand of 5 cards, and we have recruited Patty to be the judge. Hey, Patty.
Hello, how are you guys?
We are great. We've been doing this for an hour already. And Patty, what is your familiarity level with video games?
0. I have absolutely no reference.
So it is going to be on us to really make our case here and explain. We can't rely on just like sometimes it's been obvious just because of the card in your hand, but here it's really on us to make that case. The game is currently in a 3-way tie against all odds. This will determine the champion of the universe.
Yeah.
And the question we will be basing this incredibly important moment on is, which is more open-ended? Which is more open-ended? Oh, man, I got a bad hand here.
I'm going to play a card first. I'm going to play The Sims.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to go Grand Theft Auto 3.
Ooh.
I'm afraid I've got you guys beat because I'm going to play the game we are playing, the Metagame.
Wow, a card, the Metagame, slyly inserting their own game into a card here, and the art kind of recurses into infinity, which is cute. I guess we go in reverse order. Jared, why is the metagame so open-ended?
Think about this, Patty. The metagame is the game we're playing right now, and right now we're playing to decide who wins today's session of the metagame. So in the most literal way possible, it is the most open-ended thing. We are living the open-endedness of this game right now. It's also open-ended for other reasons because every time you can make a different argument, you never know what kind of argument someone's going to make. It's literally, there are infinite varieties of arguments you can make about each card that you pull. So it's open-ended in that way, but it's also open-ended in the fact that we are living it right now. And that this round will decide who wins this game.
Great answer. Who was
a good answer.
Who was next? Was it me or you? I think it was me.
It's you because
I chose Grand Theft Auto 3, which again is a game that kind of I had to like turn to face Patty.
She doesn't know what Grand Theft Auto 3 is.
The mic's.
I know all of these, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry I can't face you, Patty. The mic's over here. I chose Grand Theft Auto 3, which is a game like some of the other games we talked about today that really defines a genre. A genre of game is sandbox games, which means they've created a world and it's a sandbox for you to go and play in. And this involves games. Now includes games like Saints Row and Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto. The original ones in 2D and then the third one in 3D, and really popularized just this philosophy of game design of just giving you a world and letting you do whatever you want in it. And like Metal Gear, like we talked about before, it's a game where you play and you can do whatever you want, and you create a story that your friends couldn't possibly hope to recreate. Random things happen. You can use one of 100 cars to go over miles and miles of virtual territory, and it seems like even though this game came out in 2001, you're still finding new things every time you play it. It's just this huge open world, literally an open-ended world for you to run around and do whatever you wanted. You can play the game and just be a pizza delivery person. You don't actually have to steal cars or beat up hookers or any of the things that Grand Theft Auto is usually associated with. It's an extremely open-ended game where you can do anything or be anything and have fun doing it. And the whole, I mean, there's a storyline, but what made that game so great and so memorable and so influential is just this philosophy of here's the world, here are some tools, go have fun in it.
Okay, my turn? All right, now I am going to talk about The Sims, which is my game, in contrast to the other two games, okay? And I'm going to look directly at Patty while I'm going to direct my whole
That's just
speech at
microphone
her.
placement. I couldn't look at Patty.
Yeah. But we're going to establish a connection, and that's going to strengthen my point.
Damn it.
Grand Theft Auto 3, yes, it's an open world sandbox game, but at any given time, there are like 4 or 5 quests that you're supposed to be doing, that the game explicitly puts in front of you and says, this is what you should do. And if you don't do that thing, the quest givers will call you on the phone and be like, hey, when you picked up my heroin yet? Or whatever, you know? And Grand Theft Auto is a game that you can win fundamentally. Like, it has a main quest and you can go through and finish it. The metagame is also a game that you can win. You know, it's the actual play of the game is, you know, you can sort of say whatever you want, but there's only a couple verbs to the game. You know, you draw and then you discuss and then you award someone a winner, and there's a winner at the end of the game. The Sims, there's no way to win The Sims. There's no goal at all. It's just a thing. It's literally just like, it's as open-ended as just playing with dolls. You can do whatever you want. It's just a collection of, you know, there are these people, they have these properties, you know, they interact with these properties in different ways. They get hungry, they get tired, they have various wants and needs, and then they just wander around and do stuff based on that, and you can, you know, let them do that stuff, or you can buy stuff for them to do it in, or, you know, people do everything in The Sims from just like walling off their Sims and watching them die to, like, you know, buying lots of stuff to make their house as beautiful as possible. Some people do it like that, where they're like shopping for things. Some people literally will like tell stories, like, I'm literally going to watch these people. I saw a guy made this incredible photo essay, maybe you saw this, Jeff, where he like made like an old man and his daughter who were homeless. He didn't buy them a house, and then he just wrote a story about like what they did that day and like wrote it down with like little photos, so it was like sort of telling like almost like a novel in a way, and it was like very sad, and that was like how he played the game. But the game, The Sims, the real reason it's more open-ended than any game is it never ever tells you what it thinks you should do. It just says, here's what you can play with, do whatever you like. We couldn't care less. This is your world that you've created. Have fun with it however you want. It never ends. The credits never roll. It's just do whatever you feel like with these little virtual people. And that, I rest my case.
Do we get
Wow.
rebuttals?
What do you think? I don't know.
Final round. Let's not do them.
I think no rebuttals.
Let's just let these arguments stand for themselves.
Yeah.
Patty, I'm going to give you the mic.
Okay.
And then, maybe come down here. Hold on, I'll move my video game memorabilia.
Do you want my seat? You could have one.
That's all right.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. So originally I was on Team Meta because that was a great argument and could not argue with it. But Jeff, lots of eye contact, that makes you disqualified. I kid. No, but I think the Sims argument was very compelling. Well done. I really liked how you went on the offensive too in the beginning and kind of knocked them off. Well done. I agree with Sims.
Yeah.
That kind of gets to the gameplay thing, because Adam got to go last because he picked his card first, and that seems like that was an advantage in that round.
But he also did something very important that I keep forgetting to do, which is you got to go on the offensive. And Patty mentioned that.
I think that was a great. I mean, I think Grand Theft Auto 3 is just about as open-ended, but you're right that there is a quest and there are endings, and there is something you can do, whereas The Sims there really isn't.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you guys? I mean, that about does it. Adam, an improbable come from behind victory.
From behind victory.
Yeah. I'm impressed.
Ended up with 5. I think I won 2 in a row, and then Jeff made a very good argument for his game. So that was lucky, I would say. And then thank you very much.
What did you guys think of the metagame? We've already touched on this a little bit. This was obviously really fun. Like I could do this for another hour.
Yeah.
I would I mean, if you were the kind of person who listened to this and like wanted to yell at us while we were playing, like I would strongly recommend picking this up. It really was quite fun, and I think it would have been okay if you could have half-assed it and it would have been okay. But the games they chose and the art and the questions that they chose were very thought-provoking. The games was a really interesting cross-section that represented a lot of different genres, a lot of different areas, like Diner Dash. I never expected to see Diner Dash.
For sure.
And, there were casual games along with these hardcore games. And it's really a quality product I think a lot of time went into, and I'd recommend it, even if you're not recording a podcast.
Yeah, but I would say, hey, record your own podcast. It's super fun to hear. Like, I don't know.
If you want to raise the stakes, you should get microphones and record everybody.
You know what this would be awesome for? A road trip game. It would be an awesome road trip game. I don't think I would want to play this. If this were like an evening with friends hanging out, I think I would get frustrated. Like, guys, let's just, for whatever reason, games like that, I don't enjoy. But this was so much fun, and I can totally think of cases in which I would want to play it. And if there is a movie version, I can think of so many people who would go bananas.
Yeah,
I
would love the movie version.
Yeah.
And also, as you said, I hope that people will play this and record it, because I would like to hear other people play this.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, Jared, Patty, we got to do another episode with the movie version sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Adam, Jared, Patty, especially Patty, thank you for listening to us thank you for listening to us ramble about video games for 10 minutes. This was so fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Two more things I wanted to note about the metagame. One, it is a Kickstarter-funded project, which I always think it's cool when you see one of those finalized. It's more than just a concept video. It's an actual thing you're enjoying. Second thing I wanted to note is that the other version of it isn't actually movies, it's culture. And that includes things like literature and music and art, as well as movies. So there are cards for Citizen Kane, as well as cards for things like Garfield and Madonna and David Mamet. And that looks really interesting too, and I really enjoyed doing this one, so we will definitely look to do that in the future. You can get your own copy of the metagame at metagame.me. So it's metagame is the whole thing, metagame.me. And you can follow my guests from this episode, Adam Conover and Jared Logan, on Twitter. They are at Adam Conover and at Jared Logan. I will let you figure out which one is which. Next week on the show, I don't usually hype next week's episode before it's recorded, but let's just do it. Next week, we're going to try to have a Dark Knight Rises episode. It's hard to believe that 7 days from now, I will have seen Dark Knight Rises, and hopefully all of you will too, because I'm sure we're going to get into the specifics of the movie. Obviously, there'll be a spoiler warning. Nobody worry. Everybody calm down. But we are going to look to have a Dark Knight Rises episode next week, so obviously I am excited about that. And I'll let you know when it's up. If you follow me on Twitter at Jeff Rubin Show, at my Facebook fan page, at Tumblr, where I am jeffrubin.com, and on youtube.com/Jeff Rubin, Jeff Rubin. Thank you so much for listening to me and my friends argue about video games. Next week, it's going to be Batman. See you there. Bye. Oh, and as always, if you want to hear your own voice explaining what the enhanced version of the Jeff Rubin Show is, record it, send it to me at jeffrubin at jeffrubinshow.com. So the whole thing together is jeffrubinshow.com. Slightly less confusing than metagame.me. Leave out the sound. Don't worry about a picture. I'll take care of all of that. Thank you to Tyler for this week's very creative movie trailer style opening. And it's hard to end it without hearing that, like, one more time. So hit me with that, and then we'll call it a night. Here we go. Perfect.